GhostBed.com.
No. No, we are anti. Dan and I are both anti Morse code.
You're not. That is Hans Zimmer.
Yes, we
Jared.
are.
We're also.
That is Hans Zimmer, the professional.
By the way,
he is
you know
at
what?
home.
I want your professional opinion on this before we get into the news, Ross, because this has been fucking with me all night and day.
Go ahead.
Tell me the 1993 movie Gettysburg.
Yes.
4 hours long,
Yep.
stacked cast, amazing story. The fucking composer fucked that film up.
Jared, I'm going to go ahead and say that the movie itself was fucked from the get-go. You can go ahead and stop at 4 hour Gettysburg movie.
You know what? But I'm just saying, like, tell me that the music did not fuck that whole fucking
I don't
movie.
remember that movie.
Everything fucked that whole movie. It just wasn't very good.
I'm just
and
looking at the cast now. It had Jeff Daniels, Tom Berenger, Martin Sheen, Stephen Lang.
Great cast.
Everybody
Yep.
remembers Stephen
Great
Lang.
cast.
Great cast,
Stephen,
yeah.
Stephen Lang
and it
is-
was expensive as fuck.
Oh,
like
dude.
they had tons of extras. They had massive battles.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
everything real.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, even you get through the first 45 minutes and the score is so awful. It doesn't match. It does not like. And that's what I was saying. And I was thinking the entire time, if Hans Zimmer did this movie, like, you would feel what you need to feel in these situations.
Yeah.
But when you've got, like, cheery fucking shit going on when the first engagement happens right at the border of Gettysburg, it's like, what the fuck was this composer thinking?
Yeah, it was. Look, the problem with your first statement, if you get through the first 45 minutes, look, if you get through the first 45 minutes, you still have 3.5 hours to go on that movie. That's your first problem. They should never have made a movie
But if
that
you're
long.
gonna do-
the score sucked,
If
all
you're
of it.
gonna do the story,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the person.
if you're gonna do Gettysburg, it has to be 4 hours.
If I remember
You know what I mean?
correctly, though, I believe. Well, look, even Lincoln was 3 hours, and motherfucker, he did Gettysburg and everything else. If I remember correctly, I think it was Ted Turner who did that movie because he was just a diehard like a history buff, and I think he wanted it more of that PBS-ish type vibe rather than a cinematic fucking movie.
And that's exactly what it
felt like.
What it feels like.
Yes, yeah.
Feels like a fucking PBS bullshit ass special.
Uh-huh.
Like, I was kind of like, because I just, I was just thinking, I'm like, well, fuck, I really don't know a lot of the details of Gettysburg. I'm like, fuck, I'll watch this movie. Let's see what this is all
yeah,
about.
and so he's an Atlanta guy. So CNN is also down in Atlanta, and there was a movie theater downtown at that time, and they would only show usually one movie at night, right? But they needed something long, so they would show Gone with the Wind every night. So that way, whoever was going to concerts or whatever, if the parents had to wait, they would always go and see Gone with the Wind and then wait for their kids to get out of the concerts or whatever was happening at the Omni next door. I think he wanted that to be his next Gone with the Wind. So that way that could play forever and he would make $1 gajillion forever, but that movie bombs.
Who's the he that you're talking about?
Ted Turner was behind that.
Ted Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
dude, I was just so disappointed.
I know. Could have been great. And then
sucked.
Spielberg ended up doing it right with Lincoln. You get DDL in there as Lincoln. Congratulations.
I've not seen Lincoln yet. So,
Oh,
like,
fuck
is that
you.
worth seeing?
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
Really?
I loved it. Look, he won the Oscar for it. I loved it.
Yeah, I think
shit.
Gettysburg problem, aside from being 4.5 goddamn hours long,
Yeah.
is that it came kind of on the heels of Glory, which is one of the best war movies ever made.
I love Glory.
You know what I mean? And
I
it's-
didn't. I wondered if you guys would be Glory fans. I'm a huge Glory fan, but I'm non-military, so I don't
it's not-
fucking know.
it's
You
not-
know what?
it's
I'm
not
gonna
really
have to
a-
go back and attack Glory because I haven't seen it since I was in school.
It's not. I wouldn't even say that it's really a military movie. It's more of a movie about America and culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than it is like about the war scenes, like the interaction between Denzel Washington and what's his name?
Matthew Broderick.
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, and Morgan Freeman too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, there was Andre Brower was in that cast. A lot of people were in that cast.
Jeff Daniels does have a really rad speech in Gettysburg. you
Yeah.
know, because he points out that, you know, over human history, people have fought wars for a lot of dumb fucking reasons. Women, fucking treasure, money, land, taxes, everything, you know, everything that they want. He's like, America is going down in history as the first time we're fighting an ideology and a right for people to be free. I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty fucking rad in a speech. I was like, oh fuck, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's got moments to just the wrong direction for that movie all the way around. But yeah, if Hans Zimmer scored the top of that is definitely not Morse code.
It would change the movie.
We paid a lot of money for that score at the top of Fake News, Jared. So
yeah,
I will have you know. First up, we're talking Corona, as always, because that is seeming to dominate every single second of our life. There's a lot of chaos,
Everything.
particularly waiting for this bailout bill to get passed and enacted, which it just did, right? It was unanimous, I believe.
In the Senate, the House votes tomorrow,
Okay, the House votes tomorrow, but
Yeah.
it was unanimous in the Senate today.
and
right?
I could see the House fucking this up still. Like
Okay.
I wouldn't get too hopeful about this passing.
Oh
this week.
no,
You could
not
get,
at all.
You can get a unanimous yes from the Senate. You think the House is gonna fuck this up?
Yeah.
They'll easily fuck
It was
this up.
96-0 with 4 people who didn't vote. I imagine. I don't know if they're sick at home. Like
Rand
Paul's gone.
probably he's got coronavirus.
Yeah, he's gone. There's a couple of other people that can't vote right now, but I don't know. I don't expect it to pass tomorrow, to be honest.
Ooh, there would be a shitstorm. Here's what we know is in this bill so far. The final version has obviously been hidden from the public currently. If you make less than $75K a year, you'll get a check for $1,200 plus $500 for each child, and an additional $1,200 if you're a married couple. So $2,400 total. I got 2 kids.
That's if you're a married couple with a total income of 150 or lower.
Correct.
Right? So
Correct.
It's the
Yep.
same as every other tax thing you've ever seen.
If you make over $75,000 a year, it's a lesser amount, but over $99,000. So if you make 6 figs, you get 0. You get nada.
Which is interesting for California because
Yes.
like the pot. There have been some economic reviews about certain parts of California, so LA, Silicon Valley, and the Bay Area in general, where anything under 105,000 is technically impoverished. Right?
Yes,
in
yeah,
that area.
Yeah, and if you're at home and you're saying to yourself, dude, there's no way you can make 6 figures and be poor in LA or San Francisco. No, yes, you can. Your rent is about $3,500 a month.
Yeah.
In LA.
That's on a good end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Let alone
you're lucky.
Yeah.
That's
that's
about-
parking and all that other
If you
shit.
make $100,000 a month or $100,000 a year and your fucking rent is $3,500, that's $42,000 a year.
Yep.
That's 42%.
Jesus.
Then your utilities.
42% of it's just rent.
Yeah, and then food and all that other shit. So
You should be, by the way, in about the 25 to 27% of your income range for rent.
Yeah.
Or mortgage.
This
at
is
the high end.
This is more reason that California should become its own country at this point, because they're living in a fucking universe that no one else can.
Well, they're talking about
Exactly.
compete
so
with.
they originally Garcetti.
Yeah, Mayor Garcetti is the mayor of
Gar-
Los Angeles.
whose dad failed to convict O.J. Simpson, by the way.
Yep.
He said earlier last week that they're doing the lockdown and there's not going to be any punitive action, and like police aren't going to arrest people. But now they're saying if you're a business and you stay open, they're going to shut off your power and water.
Yeah. So that'll be fun for the residents of Los
Well, I
Angeles.
mean, like I was saying before we hit the record button, like right now, all these mayors and governors are like going full ham, and Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti said he's preparing his city to be on lockdown for another 2 months and be prepared for longer.
Ooh, look, man, I said on Ross Patterson Revolution today, I was like, I'm all done with this now. Like, I've had so many first responders hit me up and say, look, man, it's a flu for like 3 days tops, and then you're pretty much done with this.
3 to 5 days,
and then get back to work. You were on one of those threads today with
that's
some first responders,
with
and it was just
led
like,
Yeah,
by
we've had a
iron.
lot.
yeah.
I don't care. I mean,
That leads us into our second headline. Why don't you just bleed into that? Because
Well,
that's
I've got a couple of other things before.
okay.
I haven't
Yeah.
checked today, but the stock market, is it up again today?
It is. So,
So
last
that's
check,
That's 3 days in a row. Then.
yeah, it was up about 1,000 points today. I'll see
Yeah.
where it's at currently. Yes, 900 points as of 3:30 in the afternoon.
And so what's
right
it
now.
at, like 22,000 now? Mm-hmm. So it was at what, 29 before all this started?
Correct. It was at 29 before this started, and it dipped down to about 19,000. So
Yeah.
you're up close to 3,000 points here in the last.
It'll be back up to normal in 2 months, my opinion. especially with all this fresh cash going out to everybody, it's going to be fucking like that.
A lot of the biggest investors are now buying back in heavily right now.
Yeah, well, there's a conspiracy theory I have that comes later in this whole thing. But the other part is, have you seen or heard from Bernie Sanders?
It's funny
in
that
the
you
last
said that.
2 weeks, other than him
Nothing.
than him swearing at a fucking reporter who asked him a question about the campaign.
So he got up on the Senate floor and made a huge speech last night, and his supporters were like, "Oh, this is the Bernie we needed. This is what we need right now." He's all done is the problem. Like mathematically, he can't get the votes at this point. And the interesting question now is, does he remain in? Just in case Biden happens to die before the convention?
He's not going to drop out if there aren't going to be any more primaries until June, probably.
Yeah, and Biden said he doesn't want to do the last debate. He was like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore.
What he said is that we don't need another debate.
Which he's right. We really don't.
No, we do.
You think so?
Yeah, we need a debate because we need to see him on stage for 2 hours to see if he can stay awake for 2 straight hours. I'm not kidding.
I mean,
that's part of the test.
Yeah, you need another debate because if watching the previous debate, 40% of it was wrapped around virus shit. I'm sorry, but that's not okay. You were distracted by what's happening right now. That's not talking about the 4 years of your presidency. So we need a real one where they go after each other over how their presidency is going to be and not just about what's happening right now. I mean, even if you go back and you take those first 3 questions, now they're completely irrelevant. They don't even hold weight anymore because we've learned so much more about what's actually happening than what we knew then. So them just going, oh, I would do this and I would do this. Well, that wouldn't have worked.
The only thing we learned from that, the only thing we learned from that last debate is that somehow Biden's team was able to prop him up and make him seem like a fucking normal human being for a couple of hours. But everything we've seen since then is them hiding him or him just completely fumbling every time he tries to speak.
Right.
Like he looks bad. He looks really bad. And I don't.
Oh yeah.
Like he keeps talking about how we're focusing on the crisis right now. Like, dude, you don't have a job. You don't work for the fuck. He doesn't work for the government. He doesn't have any special insight into what's happening with this pandemic.
No.
He's not getting daily briefings from anybody that actually knows what they're talking about. That's part of the administration. I guarantee you nobody from the Trump administration or his executive council is briefing Joe Biden.
No one.
So what the fuck is he talking about?
He's shifted off of doing these coronavirus
because
briefs.
He fucked them up so badly.
Yeah, and now he's doing kind of dipping into like The View and some other things like that. And, it's just sad at this point. I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest with you.
I think we've turned a corner on this.
They've got to be upset.
Oh, yeah.
I think CNN's probably the most upset organization on earth right now for 2 reasons. One is that their fucking 2 meal tickets, the first one was the impeachment, and the second one now has been this coronavirus shit, have kind of blown up in their face a little bit. Like if you look at CNN's front page right now, the biggest thing you can see on the page is coronavirus deaths in U.S. top 1,000. And then it's just a bunch of other alarmist shit. And I say alarmist because the epidemiologist behind this highly cited coronavirus model that everybody from both sides, the administrations, globally, people have been citing this model. And this is what we've been using to plan the shutdowns, how we react to it, where the testing priorities go, and all this stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Turns out that the guy was totally wrong and admits now that he was wrong, right? Like he did it based on data that he got originally, and then his name's Neil Ferguson, and he's at the Imperial College in London, and New York Times has been using his shit. The U.S. government,
Washington Post, everybody.
Like he made what they're calling a massive revision to his model on Wednesday. So let me just take you through this real quick.
Yeah.
Originally, he predicted about 2.2 million people in the U.S. would die. And then another 500,000 in the UK if no actions were taken to slow the curve, his words. However, after a single day of the UK being in lockdown, he realized that far more people than we originally thought have already been exposed to the virus. Basically, like what I've been saying for fucking 3 weeks now.
Sure.
That because 30% of people show no symptoms and a large portion of people only show mild cold-like or flu-like symptoms, the vast majority of people who've been infected don't even know it.
Right.
They haven't been accounted for.
And this all came right when allergy season started.
Yeah.
Right when flu season started.
So everybody was just
Dan,
like, oh,
wasn't there... Dan, post World War II, like a year after World War II ended, wasn't there a flu epidemic that killed like 8 million people?
Yeah. But I mean, it's not even like think about it from this perspective. There have been 2 instances within the last 20 years where 50 to 60,000 people have died in 1 year in the U.S. from flu. Right. So, anyways, this guy says, just after observing one day the lockdown in the UK and how that affected the numbers over the next week, he was like, yeah, that's wrong. So he originally predicted 500,000 deaths in the UK. Now it's down to 20,000.
Quite a big number.
It's a very large difference. He also
Quite
stated
a big
that
number to be off on.
He also stated that more than half of those people would have died within the year anyway due to other health complications.
So what are we doing? What are we doing?
And that the quarantine in the UK would last probably about 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Tops. So at the same rate, if you apply that same statistical logic to the U.S. situation, at the high end, we're looking at like 88,000 deaths maybe. Mm-hmm. Doubtful because we have better health care than a lot of other places do.
Sure.
Definitely not 2.2 million. And for the record, 25,000 to 50K every year die from the flu, right?
Yeah.
Those are recorded cases. So I'm not trying to fucking be dismissive. It's probably good that we're doing a bit of quarantining to isolate the problem. It's a novel virus. It's new. It's a new mutation, so we don't fully understand it. It's good to take some precautions.
It's also good to run a test run, you know?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. But I mean, the original thing that I said, 6 to 8 weeks, probably is going to be the case. And if we go beyond that, like I'm not saying it's going to end then, I'm saying that's when it should end. And if we go beyond that, where it is unnecessarily fucking up the economy more.
That's exactly what I feel. Now we'll see what happens because there's still, look, like you said with CNN, I'm looking at these fucking articles right now. You're scaring the shit out of the public into thinking that they,
America surpasses a grim milestone, according to CNN's tally.
Grocery store throws out 35,000 in food that woman intentionally coughed on. Yeah.
I'm more of like, okay, how does this model succeed? Because let's say we all fucking lock down for 4 weeks. And you have, a gross percentage of the United States population that never got exposed because they obeyed the fucking what the CDC put out, and they did it. As soon as you come back out on lockdown and somebody has this, it just spreads again to all these healthy people that avoided it.
Right.
And then we go back in the loop.
Maybe. I think somebody said the number on a previous live show we did, but herd immunity for influenza, for example, I think is in the mid 70s, so like 74, 75%. Mm-hmm. If this guy's right, and before we even detected any of this shit, half of the population had already been exposed to it, then we've got to be getting close to that number now, right?
Yeah.
So there's been a new test that's been, by the way, it's not just this one doctor that's making these claims. Oxford epidemiologist, what's his name? I can't say his first name. Sanatra Gupta is his name.
Yeah, Sanatra.
He was critical of the original model that came out, and now he's like, yeah, this is all this fucking... He says that he is the guy that proposed that UK definitely more than half of people have already been exposed.
Right.
So, like, they're now immune to this.
Yeah.
Why are they sitting at home? They can't be carriers, and they can't catch it. Why are they sitting at home fucking up the economy?
Well, the reason being is they probably weren't tested, right?
Yeah, but you can be tested now. There's a new test where you can be tested. I read about it this morning. I was actually talking to the Led by Iron guys about it. They're EMTs and firefighters. There's a new test that can tell if you've had it already. Just give it to everybody, man.
Yeah.
Like as soon as possible, and then if you don't fucking if you've had it already, if it shows you've had it already, you go back to work. Period.
Yeah.
Because there's no risk at that point. Like it's a seasonal virus. You can't get it back to back like that. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. The article that I read said it possibly could come back in the winter, but again, that sounds a lot like the flu.
Yeah,
that's when
it's
the
seasonal.
flu is, so.
A seasonal virus. Yeah. So I mean. The narrative that we've been running with this whole time, and look, I've taken some heat. You've taken some heat from Jesse
Oh yeah,
I've taken heat from people on the internet like, don't minimize this. This is a serious fucking problem.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it's serious, and I get the idea that it's very dangerous for the people who are most vulnerable in our society. Got it.
Yeah.
Let's take care of them, but you can't shut down the whole country because people who don't actually contribute to our economy anymore.
Yeah.
That much like that. That's not a dig. That's just where they are in life now. We're all going to get there at some point. Like you can't fucking run the country like that. But imagine that the media, particularly CNN, is using a crisis to amplify its viewers, create panic, and fuck up the American economy while there's a Republican in office.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And look,
Like,
I doubled down on Ross Patterson Revolution today on this, and because the unemployment numbers came out this week. There were 3.3 million that filed for unemployment last week, highest in the history of our country. If this keeps going on, it will crash our fucking economy for years and years and years.
That's what the president came out and said yesterday.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, we got to open this up by Easter because the death toll is going to be more with us pushing ourselves into a fucking second world, third world country.
Yeah, people would be clacking off, man, because they're fucking out of work.
Here's what I've learned. I've learned that the left doesn't even have to be in power to fuck up the economy.
No, not at all. Look, and you're going to find that out in the House tomorrow. What's your prediction on that, Jared? We'll go around the horn here. You think the House passes it, yes or no?
I don't know, because I kind of feel like they have to, because if the Senate was unanimous, like there's a lot of powerful Dems on that list that like why are these junior Congress people going to go against them? And that's what I fear. Like people like AOC that fucking never belonged in that seat to begin with, that is there as a novelty item, like is gonna fucking try and make this about her and make a fucking speech or some bullshit. She's actually gonna fuck things up.
She's actually been pretty supportive of the administration through this whole thing.
Who?
AOC.
Nah, we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, look, again, you have to decide at some point what's an acceptable amount of risk, right? When you're doing risk management, there's all sorts of ways to do it. There's something called risk smoothing, which is where you spread the risk out amongst a bigger area so you know that you mitigate stuff. There's risk avoidance where you just avoid it altogether. There's all kinds of different ways to handle that situation, but one of them has to be not fucking up our entire economy.
Yeah.
Because 1.2 or so % of the population is at risk. Sorry, man. I mean, that sucks to say that, but it is fucking life.
It's hey, there's too many people on the boat. We need to get rid of 5, otherwise the ship sinks.
Yeah.
We're not getting rid of 5 25-year-olds. We're getting rid of 5 75-year-olds.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I'm sorry for your grandparents and shit like that. And
you lived your life. You got your time.
We talked about this on the show yesterday. Like, and Jared, maybe you can weigh in on this because this is a serious situation. If you were, like, let's say, Black Rifle Coffee's on fire, and you look in through the window and there's a child and a 75-year-old person, who are you going to save first? Obviously, you're going to save the child, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not. This
crazy.
This is a triage moment. It's not a fucking like.
Yes.
What's
called triage?
Andrew Cuomo is like, we save everybody in this country. Like, really? In New York, you do that, Andrew?
Yeah.
Get fucked, brother.
Yeah, of course you do.
Like, you've got more homeless people than most states have a goddamn population.
You have more homeless dying a year in New York City than you have homeless populations in other places.
Not only that, but go poll New Yorkers of what they want to do, and I guarantee you they'd be like, we want to fucking work, dude.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. By the way, there's a conspiracy going around in Drinking Bros against you, Jared, that you secretly talk about AOC because you want to fuck her. Yes or no?
I'm going to need you to repeat that again. I secretly talk about what?
AOC because you want to have sex with her.
I don't secretly talk about AOC.
People are saying
AOC like.
People are saying you throw her in a lot of episodes, and therefore you secretly want to have sex with her.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't, just because that's funny. Like, of course it's funny.
What if you guys had the greatest sex of all time? She just completely changed your life, and you were like, "Look, man, I'm
that ain't gonna change my life.
I'm dating AOC."
No, that would just be hilarious. Like, she couldn't, because because people would pull my historical tweets and everything like that and just demolish her in the press. Like, your boyfriend's a fucking train wreck for our side. like they couldn't. Like, because I pretty much say whatever I want. Like, and it's like, people try to be like, that's racist. I go, no, it's not. Like, generally my train of thought is, if you tell me you're offended, I say, I'm not offended. What makes you more important?
Right. Well, look, Kelly Conway and her husband make it work somehow, so who knows? That'll bring us to ghostbed.com/Drinking Bros, our first sponsor. Ghostbed.com, slashing prices. 25% off everything in the entire store. If you order a mattress, you get free pillows. They've also got 50% off the adjustable bases. And I know what you're thinking, man. Hey, I'm not spending my stimulus money on a mattress. Look, man, there's a 36-month pay-as-you-go program, no interest. So they're here for you. That knocks it down to like $20 a month. If you're stuck quarantined in one of these shitty states and you want to fucking rest comfortably, go to ghostbed.com/Drinking Bros today and get 25% off everything there and free pillows. It is well worth it. They ship to your house. They're coronavirus free. I think it says that on the box when it gets shipped to you. Don't know if that's true, but I'm making it up for them. Next up, Trump's approval numbers are at an all-time high. As of Wednesday, Trump's Gallup approval numbers are now at 49% approve, 45% disapprove. That's the best so far in his entire presidency, and including when he first got elected.
There are some. If you look into the rest of the numbers, though, it's actually more interesting because
it is
60% of independents approve of the job he's doing, and 27% of Democrats.
Yeah,
it's weird, right?
The interesting part of this is this article was actually on CNN last night, and I was surprised. I was like, whoa, that's probably the first positive thing you've ever posted about Donald Trump. It was really odd, but yeah, look, I tried to think about it a little more heavily after this because I knew we were doing the news today. The one thing that I can come up with is, with this disease or fucking virus or whatever you want to call it, it is historic. No president has ever gone through something like this in the history of our country.
This is brand new.
Brand new. So, look, I obviously like Trump, but I think he's doing a great job. I don't know what more you can expect from him as of today, right?
Well, he was mean. He was mean to the press.
Fuck the press. Yeah.
Like that. But that's the thing that I'm saying. The point I'm gonna make now is like we have done this stepping stool for the last 18 months that now finally shows the fucking true motive and colors from the fucking shitbag media.
Yeah.
Is like they have done such an atrocious job at asking him just pointed stupid ass fucking bullshit baiting questions that now the American public should see right through him.
So CNN ran a bunch of articles about how the public didn't trust what Trump was saying. 7 things Trump said wrong about the coronavirus. And then the next day, one of their reporters, or one of the lefty reporters, was like, what do you say to people that are panicking? You know what I mean? So you have to read this chronologically. So they create the issue by trying to instill panic in people, and then they ask Trump what he's going to say to people that are panicking because they read that he's not handling that situation well, or they're trying to push that narrative.
Right.
That is not journalism.
No, that is creating your own story.
Did you see what New York Times did? Their headline was quoted him, "I want Americans to die."
Yeah.
He had said, "I do not want Americans to die." They just let out, "Do not."
They
what
do.
the fuck?
Man, look, journalists should be held accountable today. They're not. This is going to continue to happen. And look, man, this weekend, I'm fucking signing off for the weekend. I'm not going to read any fucking news or any of this bullshit. I'm not going to get wrapped up in the hysteria or panic of this thing. I'm going to go to the beach and enjoy my fucking life, dude. And just, it's going to be 80 here and sunny. And I guarantee
You're just going to spring break it.
Yeah, I guarantee you there's going to be a bunch of other people out there as well, man. I'll report back next week. But I think a lot of people are in our camp now of hey, man, friends that I've talked to are I want to go back to fucking work. I don't really care about this anymore. So we'll see what happens here. But CNN is not going to stop. These news outlets are not going to stop. I mean, Jesus Christ, flip on ABC News or NBC News at 6:30 tonight, and you'll see it is just wall to wall. Death. People are dying. Here's what we can't stop. There's not enough respirators. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, we'll see.
You know what? You know what articles have completely halted? Violence against Asian Americans.
Yeah, haven't seen any of those.
Because nobody believed that shit.
That rise that
Yep.
New York Times posts, the rise of violence against Asian Americans. Yeah, there's no rise.
None, and nobody cares.